You ever notice how bullies peak in high school and then spend the rest of their lives trying to recreate that fleeting moment of power? It's wild, really. Imagine you're scrolling through social media right now, and there they are, the same people who made your life hell between the ages of 13 and 18. They're selling essential oils or asking you to connect on LinkedIn. Here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. What exactly did you win? A temporary hierarchy in a building we were all legally required to be in? The thing about high school bullying is that it operates on this bizarre economy where cruelty is currency and everyone's desperately trying to avoid being broke. You found someone you perceived as weaker and you cashed in. Congratulations, you understood basic predator dynamics. But here's where it gets interesting. That whole system evaporates. The second you leave that building for the last time, the currency becomes worthless overnight. Now imagine you're at your 10-year reunion, or better yet, just existing in the world as an adult. The power structure you invested so heavily in doesn't exist anymore. What's fascinating is how many former bullies don't even remember the specific incidents that their targets think about for decades. You were building your identity while simultaneously being a forgettable Tuesday for someone else. Cue the inspirational speeches about living well is the best revenge. But what's really happening is much simpler than that. The real world has different scorecards. Those insults you workshopped in the cafeteria, they taught your targets to develop thicker skin, sharper wit, and a healthy skepticism of social hierarchies. Meanwhile, you learned that being mean works until suddenly it doesn't. Before you know it, 10 years pass, and the skills you honed so carefully become liabilities. Turns out employers don't love the peak in high school energy. Some of you probably think you were just joking around, that everyone was too sensitive, that it wasn't that deep. Others know exactly what you did and have spent years trying to outrun it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Every person you targeted remembers your name, but you've probably forgotten most of theirs. That imbalance is its own kind of haunting. The irony is that the kids you bullied often developed empathy, resilience, and drive specifically because of what you put them through. You were accidentally their personal trainer for emotional intelligence. As critics look back, the narrative simply shifts. Suddenly you were just a kid, or going through stuff too. Everyone's looking for redemption arcs, but not everyone earns one. How do you convince yourself that you weren't the villain in someone else's story? With a little selective memory, maybe some rationalization about how everyone was mean back then. Some say bullying builds character, others say it causes lasting trauma. Both can be true simultaneously, which is the messy part nobody wants to acknowledge. Imagine being so threatened by someone else's existence that you made it your daily mission to remind them they were worthless. The psychology there is almost pitiable. What's the real impact of making someone dread going to school every single day for years? Ask the millions of adults still unpacking that in therapy. The strategy adapts too. When the physical intimidation stops working or gets you in trouble, you switch to social manipulation, rumors, exclusion, innovation in cruelty. Despite all the anti-bullying campaigns and awareness programs, the same patterns persist in every new generation, just with better technology to amplify the damage. Turns out what felt like social dominance was actually just insecurity with a megaphone and an audience. Behind every put-down was someone trying desperately to feel bigger. Here's what changed and what hasn't. The kids you bullied grew up, got therapy, built lives, found success, learned to set boundaries. Meanwhile, you're reading this and either feeling defensive or wondering if it's about you. Before you dismiss this entirely, consider that your targets think about you more than you think about them, just not in the way you might hope. You're a cautionary tale, not a triumph. Some of you apologize years later, and that's worth something. Others are still pretending it never happened, which tells us everything we need to know about your growth trajectory. The game was rigged from the start, a temporary kingdom that dissolved the moment real life began. But the scars you left, those stuck around a bit longer. That's the legacy behind the yearbook photos and the remember when stories. But just wait, the next generation's version of this might be even more complicated, and your kids might be on the receiving end. Funny how that works.